Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now that the Css Report has been released and JK Rowling has been vindicated in her views, it seems that she is not in a forgiving mood. She was basically stabbed in the back by all those petulant children whom she helped make famous and rich. Daniel Radcliffe, for example, Emma Watson, and the ginger one that nobody can ever remember. And she says she will not forgive them for her treatment that she received from them. They were standing up and being virtuous. Look at us, look at the way we do this, look at the way we do that. And it turns out that they were siding on the side of evil. They were the ones saying that these things should happen. And yet it's now been shown that that is the greatest harm that could befall children. And they have not apologised, and now she's saying even if they got down on bended knee and begged forgiveness, she would not forgive them. She stood up, she was right, she's been vindicated, and they were wrong all along. And it wasn't just a difference of opinion. They were castigating her, they were slagging her off, they were putting her down. And now they are the ones that are in the wrong, and we can see the likes of these wastrels, the likes of Emma Watson, sitting there going, oh, look at me, I'm wonderful, I'm virtuous, I'm one to push children into mass sterility on an industrial scale because it makes me feel good about myself. Well, Watson, I hope you're ashamed of yourself now. Certainly you've blown it in terms of ever getting back into the Harry Potter universe. Those days have gone. And there are going to be people who were in the films that are going to be invited back into the new TV series, but it won't be you. Let's have a look at why JK Rowling is quite right in her assessment that these petulant youths deserve all they get. Here goes. So JK Rowling says she won't forgive Harry Potter co-stars who criticised her stance on trans children. And that's the great thing that's come out of the Css Report. It is so damaging. All these people pandering to the trans lobby, all these people saying, no, everything is great, everything is wonderful, we must do this, we must enable these things, have been shown to be absolute monsters. Genetically changing children, putting chemicals into their bodies that will utterly destroy them, sterilising them on an industrial scale, ruining their minds, the self-ending rate being massive, 20 times higher than the background lot. All this thing, all the regrets. And these people think they're being virtuous. Oh, look at us, because we don't want to be seen as transphobes. No, you're not seen as transphobes. You're seen as child-destroying monsters. That's what you are. The Edinburgh-based author hit out at both Daniel the Wanker Radcliffe and Emma the Bitch Watson, who have distanced themselves from her in recent years amid the trans debate. Nobody cares about Grint, he's a shit actor anyway. All he can do is this. Useless. Anyway, JK Rowling has confirmed that she will not forgive Harry Potter stars Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson after they criticised her stance on trans rights. The Edinburgh-based author has been vindicated for her views on not transitioning children following the damning Css Report being published. And boy, does this really wind up the left. And they're all rushing now to reverse ferret it. We showed how Labour were going, well, of course, we felt like this all along. And it's all bollocks. It's all bollocks. They are rushing back. They're trying to walk everything back that they said because they realise that virtue signalling bollocks that they kept saying, oh, well, I can't define what a woman is because, my name's Sir Keir Starmer and I'm stupid. And it all turns out now that actually, yes, you can define what a woman... Oh, look, we can now, yes. Although he still maintains that 99% of women don't have a penis. You're almost there, Keir. Almost. The bombshell publication, written by leading paediatrician Dr. Hilary Cass, found that teenagers in Britain have been allowed to change their gender based on remarkably weak evidence. She warned there was a lack of high-quality research on the effects of giving children puberty blockers and hormones, and she hit out at the toxic debate over these issues. In England, the clinic which described children and teenagers' medicine to allow them to change gender, the Tavistock, has been shut down. But in Scotland, the Sandiford Clinic still offers appointments to young people who want to transition, although calls have been made for this service to be shut down as well. And absolutely right, it should. It's now been shown that at Tavistock, 97.5% of children who went through that door were not trans. They were not suitable, but they did it anyway. Rowling took to social media to blast celebrities who cozied up to a movement intent on eroding women's hard-won rights. And in response to a comment from someone who asked whether she would accept an apology from Radcliffe and Watson, who have criticised her stance on trans people in the past, she wrote on Twitter about the Css Report that it was a watershed moment and that it lays bare the tragedy of allowing children to transition. I have been firm ever since this debate started, 100%. You can go back every video. I've been against it. I've said it's damaging. I said there's no evidence. I said it's causing so much grief. What you don't hear are all the children who have been transitioned, who now desperately want to go back. And it's way over 70% who regret it. And yet that's silenced because the people say, oh, we can't talk about that. We might be seen as transphobes. Well, now the truth's coming out, and it is the likes of Stonewall that are the monsters. Take down your Stonewall plaques, throw them in the bin, and tell Stonewall to FRO. Anyway, someone asked whether the two Harry Potter stars owe her a very public apology, safe in the knowledge that you'll forgive them. And the author responded scathingly saying, not safe, I'm afraid. She had celebs who cozied up to a movement intent on eroding women's hard-won rights and who use their platforms to cheer on the transitioning of minors can save their apologies for traumatised detransitioners and vulnerable women reliant on single-sex spaces. I love this woman. I think she is marvellous. She stands up. She gives the women a voice. And then this starts on the protection of children is something we must all get behind. 100%. The writer also wrote a series of emotional tweets in reaction to the Css Report. As she said, over the last 4 years, Hilary Cass has conducted the most robust review of medical evidence for transitioning children that has ever been conducted. And mere hours after it was released to the press and public, committed ideologues are doubling down. These people who've deemed opponents are far right for wanting to know there are proper checks and balances in place before autistic, gay and abused kids, groups that are all overrepresented at gender clinics, are left sterilised, inorgasmic and lifelong patients. She said, I understand that the review's conclusions will have come as a seismic shock to those who've hounded and demonised whistleblowers and smeared opponents as bigots and transphobes. But trying to discredit Hilary Cass's work isn't merely misguided, it's actively malign. She said, even if you don't feel ashamed on cheerleading what now looks to be severe medical malpractice, even if you don't want to accept that you might have been wrong, where's your sense of self-preservation? The bandwagon you hopped on so gladly is hurtling towards a cliff. Both Radcliffe, who played Potter, and Watson, who starred as Granger, have distanced themselves from Rowling's views on trans people in recent years. He claimed that young queer transgender fans of the franchise were upset by their stance, while all the ones who were pushed through the sausage factory, no pun intended, and who had their ghoulies removed, had their breasts implanted, and have to pretend to be women now, and who will never have children of their own and will never achieve an orgasm, can sit there and praise that she is at last standing up for what's happened and make sure that no other child is damaged like this and that hopefully sense will come. God bless you, JK Rowling, and God bless you, Hilary Cass. Sense at last. I'm coming up. Next time you see Daniel Radcliffe or Emma Watson, just think these are people who want to destroy children, who want to sterilise children, who want to make a whole generation of eunuchs simply to fulfil the desires of older people who, especially for some reason, like young boys to be feminised. And remember that trans people are, and it's the government's own figures, 12 times more likely to be sex offenders. This is what these people are pushing for. They are monsters. They think that doing these things to children is virtuous. Well, maybe they should lead the way. Perhaps Daniel Radcliffe shall offer to get his whole balls cut off, just to show how safe and reversible it is. Won't happen. Thanks very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and let us continue to stand with JK Rowling as she keeps fighting for the rights of vulnerable women and children everywhere. Well done, man. Till next time, goodbye.